Hey, welcome to Odd Musings, episode number 207. Scott should be joining me shortly. I'm sure he's taking care of his real estate stuff here. So I'm going to get us kicked off here and start talking about our first sponsor today. We've got a Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, and they are located in Belleville, Michigan and Dexter, Michigan. They take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essentials, aromatherapy, full light of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. You can give a call at 734-697-4244. Visit them online at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com. We have a link at Odd Musings for you guys. As you know, I am a patient there and have been for many years. They do help out with a lot of chronic issues I have, mainly from a car accident several years ago. Actually going on almost 15 now. But definitely things like here. This is kind of interesting thing they had posted, though, was joint cracking. What makes that sound? Let's crack our knuckles and do different things like that. This kind of talks about that. So it's cool to follow them online at their Facebook page at Loringer Family Chiro. And there's Scott. Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Going good. Just as I was getting on, a call came in that I absolutely had to take for real estate.
So I started off with our sponsor, Loringers, just wrapping up with them.
Nice.
So if you want to get your page ready, we'll go right into Team Titans here in just a second.
Let's see here. Let me just, I'll do this one here.
Yeah. But as I finish up on their Facebook page, nice things. They got you can ask them questions, things like that. And I know they're located in Michigan, Southeast Michigan here. And if you're not from the area, you could still ask some questions online and help them direct a good chiropractor in your area. Because they do know people all over the country. So definitely check them out.
For sure.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And then
we got Team Titans Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. Here's a post Jill did this morning. She's a fan of the movie Step Brothers. So, as she posted, she put, if you need more room, call me. I can help you find a more spacious home. Asterisk, Step Brothers not included.
Yes, Step Brothers was has been the inspiration for tons of movies, including Batman vs. Superman, Godzilla vs. Kong, and several others of recent note.
That's right. And evidently for Jill also. So we got other favorites of hers.
So when you guys get married, you guys are going to take two beds and just stack them up so you have more room in the bedroom, huh?
Right. Yeah. And other great inspirations for Jill is Nacho Libre and some others. So she can quote like the whole movie. But
these are my stretchy pants.
That's right. But real estate really is going along really good right now. Everything's crazy. It's just crazy. That's all I can say. And if you're going to try to navigate these waters on your own, beware. You really should hire a professional who knows exactly what's going on right now. This is not your grandfather's real estate market. There's pricing strategies and other things that are very crucial in the process to maximize what you get. And also that's, on the sell side, there's certain tools that you're going to want to implement to maximize your price. But on the buy side, there are certain things you can utilize to help get your offers accepted. Because right now we're seeing a tightening of appraisals. We're seeing more and more appraisals come back low. So those appraisal guarantees are getting activated, which means you got to be careful on how much you promise to pay above asking price because you may have to come up with that money. So give us a call. 586-549-6096 is my number. Jill's is 586-277-2145. You can follow us on teamtitansofrealestate.com or on our Facebook at Team Titans RE. Give us a call. The consultation is free, and we'll custom tailor a package that fits your needs.
Excellent. Yeah, driving around, I noticed a couple of the new home builds going on. A couple of them have recently sold out, and they're not very old. They're within the last couple of years. There's a lot of still going in. I know with the price of wood, a lot of these were Pulte, so I'm sure a lot of this was already pre-bought prior to the crash or the increase.
Right.
So these were all already established. And still seeing some new homes being built though, but some are using a lot of alternative materials besides wood. And I'm starting to see those as signs going up. So it's kind of interesting out there. But definitely, even these new home builds are selling fast, as well as anybody listing their home. So
and the time to build, if you're starting from scratch at this moment, it's something that would normally take 6 months is now taking 1 to 2 years. Because they can't guarantee that their supply of raw materials will be coming in, and just prices of homes. You're looking certain homes. If you had like $10,000 worth of wood, that same wood is now $40,000. So it's causing prices to skyrocket. They can't hit their deadlines because of shortages. So
this is true in everything, even just deck building. There's billboards around Ann Arbor now for Trex, and it's now cheaper than wood when usually it was always almost twice the cost of wood. So so that's kind of the new thing too, is these alternative materials that were more pricey to wood are now the more cost-effective option.
Yes. Yep. And even those materials though are, now that there's a surge on those will become harder to find. So it's a trickle down type effect. And, but the other effect is, houses that are in that 500,000 and up range, their main competition before was new construction. Well, now that new construction is having difficulties, we are seeing a surge in demand now of pre-existing houses in that price point, which is causing those prices to go up. So everything, as Obi-Wan Kenobi said to the Gungans, it's a symbiotic relationship. We all rely on each other, and one hurts, the other hurts. And that's what we're seeing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting out there. So
definitely.
I recommend, it's like if you have the options and you can take advantage of it in a positive way, go for it, but don't. I think this is like we talked a little bit about the stock market with the crypto coins, and that don't get in a panic mode and start trying to buy or sell something that you're going to get hurt on in the long run. Yeah, it might be best just to sit tight.
And regarding that, sitting tight. Those people who panicked, in 1 week, all the stuff I bought was down about 50%. But then just like as of between a couple of days ago to now, it's almost all back. Yeah. So it's, don't buy and sell on emotions. Buy and sell based upon your research and knowledge, because when you think with your emotions, you're going to make drastic decisions you could regret later. So.
Yeah, and I think that's true in anything when you're doing financial, even housing right now with ways. It's crazy. I know some people probably think, well, I can make a bunch of money on my house, but then you got to keep in mind, if you haven't got a place to go, you're going to spend just as much or more to get a new place. So,
yeah, yep. So it's crazy. Give us a call. We talk to you about your specific needs, and we, like I said, it's a free consultation. It costs you nothing other than some of your time, and even if you decide to do nothing, at least you're basing your decision on knowledge instead of just rumors or innuendo or whatever.
And a few people I've recommended that have called you guys, I know it's been just for that reason. It's like, just call, get information.
Yep.
They're not going to try to press you into looking at houses or anything like that, but you need to get yourself straight, because if you're not straight on what you need, you're going to go into it from the wrong angles. And just when you think you can have something, you may not be able to, or you're going to get rooked. Especially if somebody like it doesn't take you honestly. So
the worst people to ask are your neighbors. There are so many times where it's like, when we go in for a market analysis, the first thing we do is we pull up all the recent sales in the neighborhood and find all the comps to your house, and we'll put together a price range of what we think your house is worth. And we come over, and when we see it in person, we then fine tune that price point based upon seeing your house. But so many times we'll be like, well, my neighbor down the street sold for 50,000 more. And we pull it up and like, well, here, your neighbor lied. Here's what they actually sold for. And oh, by the way, they gave up 10,000 in concessions. So what they netted is like 50,000 less than what they told you. Mm-hmm. It happens all the time. People, there's pride, there's ego involved with, especially when you're at certain price points, like let's say you're at $500,000 in that price point. It could be a blow to the ego to say your house sold for 480 because you want to be able to say you had a $500,000 home. So you might that person might tell their neighbors, oh yeah, we sold for 500,000 when they really sold for 480. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So we see a lot of that when, there seems to be certain price points, I think, for certain buyers where they don't want to admit their house was below.
Basically, it's the fish was this big.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So we get the actual data. We can tell you exactly how much it sold for. Did they have concessions? what type of financing was it? Was it cash, conventional, FHA? We can tell you the ins and outs of that deal once it closes. So anyways, it's always funny to see that happen, though. Like, people are, but my neighbor told me. It's like,
well, your neighbor lied.
Your neighbor wasn't under oath.
That's because too many people I've noticed over the years is they're always trying to keep up with the Joneses, and at the same time they're trying to be.
Yeah. Great way of putting it.
Yeah.
So
you were doing some work this morning besides real estate, and I'm gonna pop this graphic.
Yes.
So it's right half cover us. That's our new Bardstone World Tour.
That's right.
It's funny. I had that up one time, and one internet troll was like, "World Tour, not going anywhere around the world." I was like, "Guess what? That's still my world. I'm going there."
Well, it's still part of the world, and this is just our
And then eventually, we'd like to get over. We've been talking about trying to get into the London show, especially with Crimson Shadows being based in London. Yeah, it could be a nice fit.
And Kevin and I have done Paris, and we hope to get back to that. I would love to do Australia. Ireland is on my to-do list. The Dublin show.
Oh, definitely.
I would love to get to there. So our plans are to eventually do that. And get back to it.
It'll be interesting on getting books across the ocean, but we'll figure it out. Probably have to find a printer in those countries. Yeah, we need these printed up.
print a limited run, and once we sell out, we sell out. So
but we're gonna start off with Gem City. Hey, Kevin. Good morning.
Kevin's part of this trio here of misfits doing this world tour here.
Yeah. So it's funny though, the banner works in the middle between us, this overlay thing. I didn't plan it that way. I just uploaded it.
It works out perfect though.
But we're kicking it off July 24th, 25th. We're all gonna be down at Gem City Comic Con in Dayton, Ohio. Looking forward to be back to that show. Love that show. It's always been a fun show to do.
Jesse does such a great show down there. And it's a great show to hook up with all of our artist friends, our T-24, Sean Forney. I mean, the whole gang. J5, so it seems like everyone goes to this show.
In fact, this is probably going to be the one show this year I think everybody that's done something with Bardstone is going to be at. So this is a great option to come out and basically, I mean, a couple people that aren't going to be there. We're not going to have Shirley. Of course, she's not flying in from Brazil.
right.
And Travis doesn't really do shows.
Sergio probably won't be out.
But for the most Bardstone, besides us, the co-founders and top creators, the additional talent that's come in to work with us on stories and covers and that will be there. So this is a great time to actually get something and get everybody to sign your book that had a part of that. So it'll be a lot of fun.
It'll be interesting doing this show in July. This was normally San Diego Comic Con weekend, but San Diego isn't having their normal edition. As you see way down on the bottom there, they're going to do their fall edition in November. It'll be nice. It'll be nice and warm. Usually Gem City, we got crisp mornings heading in because what is it? Usually like March.
It's the end of March, anywhere from the end of March to end of April, depending on how C2E2 always fell and things like that. So we've either gone from having potential snow and ice even in March to having just chilly, damp weather in April. But it's always still a fun time.
And then you guys who are fans out there who go to Gem City, you guys are awesome. Gem City is one of those shows where it's a smaller show when you go by pure size. It doesn't have the 500,000 people San Diego's getting, but boy, you guys out there in Dayton, when you guys come out, you guys, we absolutely love you guys. And from a pure retail standpoint, easily our sales are that of a show that is typically double in size. So you guys are awesome.
It's a more intimate show, as I like to call it, because you have a chance to actually interact with the people more. People aren't being pushed aside because there's so much going on that they have to keep moving. And it's actually where I built probably the best fan base within Boomtown of my comics. And that I've got a lot more people there that I've always been more excited about any books I've worked on that come out than that one. It actually is even, I would say, a little bit more even than Motor City, but Motor City and that were pretty tight because it's because that's my whole local show. But so
and Jesse has such a great connection with the local sponsors and people in the area that it's always a home run show.
So I look forward to that. And then we almost immediately we're headed, because it's the next weekend, Tampa Bay Comic Con. Glad to be back down there for that one. That's been a fun show for us over the last several years. So we'll be flying down for that.
I love doing Tampa Bay. Absolutely love it. The only negative for me is I hate flying. So I would rather drive, but it's a long drive, and it's
Yeah, we don't have
tight.
the 4 days of driving that we need for it.
We don't have the
make it
luxury
worthwhile.
of not having jobs anymore. So
Yeah,
where we could take our time, do a
Right.
2-day drive down, 2-day
and
drive
spend an extra
back.
couple of days playing at Universal
Yeah.
and then come home. We've done that before too. But yeah, so it's kind of we're flying down on a Thursday, coming back on a Monday, and it's a tight turnaround, having to pack and of course, keep in mind, guys, we're coming in from a whole different way this year. We're not coming in with the big print walls or anything. We're coming in with the comic books mainly. We'll still have a few prints with us because we all have leftover prints. But
I may do a mini print wall though.
Yeah.
I'm putting together. Inspired by Kevin Meinert, he put together some great graphics. He's doing some oversized posters of our products. Especially if I'm set up like an artist alley by myself, I'm doing a print wall of all the covers for all. All the variant covers.
And that's actually what I was going to get at was it's no longer going to be like here's all the fan art.
Right.
Everything you're going to start seeing behind us is going to be based on all the work we've been doing.
Because that's one of the things I think. One of the positives we have is it seems like a lot of publishers, they'll have a table and they'll have a little 6-foot banner pop up and then nothing else. And it's just a very dull display a lot of times. There's no life to it. And a lot of times when you're in the midst of a Comic Con, there's so much to see. And if all you have is just a tiny display, you can get overlooked so easy, even by people looking for you. And so I want to still do the display of my fan art, but using purely original art of our work, because there is a mindset to fans that they like to stand at a distance and try to look at what you have from a distance before they approach.
Yeah.
And if they can't see anything from that distance, they never come up to you. So, and Brett knows this, we see it all the time where you can kind of watch them look at your stuff from a distance and they don't want to approach you, but you can see that glint in their eye when something caught their attention. And then that's when I pop in and Brett does the same thing. And it's like, oh, is there something that interested you? And then they step forward because you've broken that wall of silence and but it gave you the in, and they step forward and then they start looking through your books and stuff like that. So I really want to, we got some great banners we have. We're going to we have a lot of artwork just through our covers alone. And then our interior pages are great too. So we got some great stuff. I think, I think we're going to really pop in our setup.
I think so. And I'm looking forward to, the new response to everything, because while we've had some great response on the Kickstarter, it's still been a limited number of people, and getting in front of now tens of thousands of people at these shows, potential with all the new books, existing books, things like that. Because there's a lot of people that may not realize that, oh, I've always bought art from you. Oh my God, you do have comics, and things like that. And we'll also have some artwork available, again, like I said, based on a lot of stuff that we're doing. Sketch covers are still an option. You can still get a sketch cover of your favorite character. Those are available to commission through Scott, Kevin, and I, things like that. So it's not like you can't get a Deadpool picture. You're just not gonna be able to walk up by a print as often, unless we're at a show where we're clearing out some of our existing pre-made art that we've had, because we still got that, and we still want to use that to kind of fund going forward the stuff that we're doing. So.
Another thing we're going to be doing is now that we have the schedule in place, I'm going to begin setting up event pages through Facebook for each of these shows. We'll label which ones of us, me, Kevin, and Brett, will be at each show. Some of them, all three of us will be. Some of us one, some of us two. It'll just depend on the show. But we'll make it known who's going to be where, and we're going to make pre-orders available as well. So if you want to pre-order your books and everything else and prepay for them, we can have a packet ready for you that if you're going to be at the show, you pick it up at the show. And so it's one way you can also budget your money. So if you want to have a certain amount of money to spend while you're at the show, spend your money on us now, and then it won't come out of your budget money that weekend. So we're going to have options for you. You can pre-order sketches if you want, and we'll have price lists for each show. But we're really trying to organize this.
definitely with the sketches. Like, say you want like an example, Cincinnati. Scott and I will be in Cincinnati Comic Expo, while Kevin will be at Monroe. If you're going to one of the other shows and you know you're not going to see one of us, but you want something specific, like maybe a signed book, a signed sketch covers, whatever you want, pre-order that from us to have at the show, and we'll have it sit there. So like if I can't be in Monroe, but you're saying I really want to get your cover signed, or this cover signed by you because you did this or that, we can definitely plan that ahead so it's sitting there waiting for you. And
you bring up with those pre-orders too. Now if you order early enough, you can put in requests. Like Kevin won't be at Cincinnati. Well, if you really want to sketch from Kevin, if you contact us and it's soon enough, if like, for instance, if you were to pre-order it before Tampa, Kevin might be able to have a sketch ready for you. We get it in Tampa and we bring it with us to Cincinnati. So there is potential of crossovers. If one of us isn't going to be available, as long as we can interact and do an exchange, we can still make it work for you guys. Yeah.
And then of course, Colorado Springs Comic Con is a brand new one for us, and Kevin and I are heading out for that one. Looking forward to that because I have look forward to see how that goes. With Denver no longer happening as it was, eventually it's going to be a fan expo show. I'm curious to see how this show is because I love being out in that area, and it's great fans too. And then another fun one that I'm excited about is the Fright Night Film Fest down in Louisville. Kevin and I are going to drive down to do that one. I'm going to have to geek out on that one because a bunch of the cast from the Monster Squad is going to be there. Including the Mummy and Dracula. Sean's going to be there. Phoebe the Thief. So I'm kind of like, okay, I got to geek out a little bit at that one. So it'll be a lot of fun. But we'll have all the cool, Paul Macabre. We'll have some Crimson Shadows.
And Louisville is such a great town.
Yes.
Also, awesome place.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I've been there. Looking forward to that. Always enjoyed doing the Derby City down there. That was always a fun show for us, and met a lot of great people on this. Hope to see some of them again. And then you're going to be doing the Motor City Comic Con here in Michigan, while Kevin and I are down in Indiana for Indiana Comic Convention.
Yep. So a little asterisk on that one. We believe we'll be doing it. We're still waiting for them to release the application. I assume I'm going to get in. So as long as they move forward with October 16th and 17th, like they're announcing, and my application is accepted, no reason to believe it won't be, I will be handling that while Brett and Kevin handle Indiana.
Yeah, and with July 1st being the fully open day here in Michigan, then we should have a full crowds there. So you should be just fine to come on out.
And that's my birthday weekend. So come on out. Yeah. You spend extra money on our booth as a birthday thank you.
Yes, we'll have to. Scott will have to do something for special for his birthday. If you wish him a happy birthday, he'll give you a no prize or something. Yeah.
Definitely.
And then we'll be back at Akron Comic Con. I know Scott and I'll be there. We're going to see if Kevin can make it out with us.
Akron's another one of those great community shows. Absolutely love it. We have our own little routine whenever we go down to Akron. Our favorite places to eat. We try to go see a movie while we're there. All kinds of fun stuff. So it's a great town. I love Akron.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I'm looking forward. Dan Gorman's been running that. I forget his partner on that. Off the top of my head, his name, but looking forward to being back with them. They run a fun show, and we had a good time 2 years ago when they took it over from Michael. Yeah. Michael's a great guy. He'll make an appearance, I'm sure.
Great turnout.
And all that. And then if things work out, you might see us out at the Comic-Con International Special Edition.
Yeah, they're saying if you were in before, you're going to get into this one. So at the very least, Kevin had an artist table, didn't he, for the last one that got canceled?
No, he was on the wait list, I believe.
Wait list. So I'm definitely
him and I were going to go out on pro badges.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the plan there is I should be getting an artist table there, and we're hoping to get a small press table for Bardstone is our hope. And then all three of us will be there, but I'll have my artist table, they'll have the Bardstone table.
Yeah.
So if that goes to plan, but at the very least, we should be guaranteed the artist table since I was already accepted in the show that got canceled.
Yeah, and that'll be cool if we can get out there for that because I love San Diego as well. So
I love San Diego. Such a great time. It'll be interesting to be in San Diego in November. I've never been there for that. It's always mid-July. So that'll be interesting to see it at a different time of year.
Yeah, yeah. So anybody that's watching that of Comic-Cons in your area that you're would like to see us at, send us information on them. We'd like to come out. There's been a couple others we'd love to have done this year. They were just too tight against others.
Yeah, we got such a surge the second half of the year of all these shows. But 2022 hopefully will be, back to normal, and we'll have our full schedule throughout. I'm looking forward, even like those other like Great Lakes Comic Con that we usually do in February there. I'm looking forward to getting back there, and then other shows that we typically hit too that we just unfortunately couldn't do this year.
Yep. So definitely let us know about those if you want us out there. We can try to accommodate it as best as possible. If not, we're gonna have a web store set up soon. You'll be able to order everything online as well. Yep. So a lot of cool stuff on that. So
woohoo! Good stuff.
Hey, did you hear the good news? Not good news, I guess. Interesting news today, and it could be good news. Amazon just dropped $9 billion buying MGM Studios.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting buyout for them. I mean, now they own the James Bond franchise of movies. Which means the new one, there's been talk of them trying to put that on Amazon anyways, since it's been supposed to be out almost 2 years ago.
Well, Amazon did a great job with the Jack Ryan series there, with Jim from The Office. Now,
of course, in terms of actually making the movies, I believe that it's still under the Albert R. Broccoli company, that they make the movies, but MGM was always the distributor on those. So it'd be interesting to see what actually they can do with James Bond, but it basically opens up the fact that they're going to have access to, I believe, 7,000 movies or something like that, and then 14,000 TV shows. So it's definitely adding more to their catalog for their streaming service. So this
MGM is Wizard of Oz MGM?
You believe they were? Yes.
So I wonder if that could be
it's also
Wizard of Oz content.
Well, and that could be, and as well as the Wizard of Oz content is public domain from the books, so anybody can make a Wizard of Oz thing now,
right? But they could, but based upon the original movie and designs, they could do extensions based upon the original movie. Maybe, I wonder.
Possibly, yep. And that's the thing here. It's a lot of this talks about what MGM has done over the years, and then what Amazon is doing by buying things like Whole Foods, stuff like that. But I guess they have like $73 million in like cash and bonds. Wow. I mean, basically the liquid money almost to spend. So dropping $9 billion to them was kind of like, going, oh, look, I found a $10 bill. I'll buy it.
How crazy, huh?
Yeah. But they got a lot of stuff coming out too. So, I mean, MGM is still producing and stuff like that. So I'm kind of curious to see what this eventually means for what will be available through Amazon Prime, what new movies will come out. Things like that. So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. And of course, the details of everything is still, and actually I said 4,000 movies, 17,000 TV shows in its catalog, which is still, it's huge. So, and again, we might see TV shows pop in that we never thought before, but also they have properties like Pink Panther, Rocky, and the 007 franchise. So, and it says tap in for new originals. Again, the 007, I've always, even though it's been MGM, I think it still can only be made if the Albert Broccoli company actually okays it and produces it or whatever. So I think there's something with that.
They did a good job of holding on to their rights.
Yeah.
So
the only time they did something different with Bond was Never Say Never with Sean Connery was not done by them. Really? I think it's because they found a loophole within one of the books or something like that allowed them to do that. So it was, that was from the early 80s. I'd have to really research that more to get more into it. So, and of course, looking at stuff out here on Variety, talking about this new Powerpuff Girls pilot. I'm really not excited by a live action Powerpuff.
I think they canceled that.
It says it's being reworked. So
I think the internet police were unhappy about something.
Okay.
So I don't know. It sounds like the live action was getting axed from what I read, but I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't really kept up with it. But when I heard about it, I was like, not really care. But it looks like Lindsay Lohan's going to be in a Christmas movie. I haven't really paid attention much to what's going on. So a bunch of different stuff out there. Kevin Spacey's going to try to come back after his sexual scandal and everything else. So
yeah, he's coming back to play police detective hunting a pedophile is what I read.
Well, it's a little ironic, but
although I don't fully understand that case. Wasn't the kid like 18? Like what he did wasn't right. I'm not advocating it at all. Well, but he was like 17 or 18.
Supposedly, it's what's his name on Discovery. He's also done Broadway with Rent and stuff like that. He claimed to be 14 or 16, I think, at first.
Oh, was that
so,
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's something I didn't know. Samuel Wright passed away. Now you may not know him by name, but he was the voice of Sebastian in The Little Mermaid.
Oh, okay.
And I heard that. So, and another one, Mark York, who played Billy Merchant in The Office, died. So you watched The Office. So
yeah.
So of course, stuff I haven't paid attention to lately because I've been, just too busy with other stuff outside of the realm of the interwebs. So
yeah, there's definitely Hollywood news is definitely ramping up. Did you hear about the Highlander reboot?
Yes, with Cavill.
Yeah, so they announced he's going to be, and it's the John Wick director handling it. So that will be very interesting to see. As any true Highlander fan knows, there was only ever one Highlander movie made. We do not discuss the other ones. It's like Fight Club. You do not discuss Highlander 2, 3, 4.
I don't know. I liked the movies, the series of movies. They were fun. They got campier along the way. Yeah. The series was actually really good and really built up the better lore of what the Highlander is. And stuff like that.
Yeah, the sequel movies, I believe the series kind of ignored the sequel movies.
Yeah, it was almost like they almost seemed like it was his brother, but it wasn't. So he was still a McLeod, but he was a different McLeod.
But what wasn't it? It's been so long. I've only watched it once. It was so bad. I never watched it again. It was like some kind of like a prison thing, and they had to kill each other off to get freed, or like there was this weird thing when they added Michael Ironside to it and all this stuff, and the whole
the movies or the series.
The movies. Oh, like
okay, Well, but
Highlander 1 was great.
Yeah, Highlander 1 and 2 were good. Highlander 3 started getting came. Highlander 4 is really forgettable.
Yeah.
But definitely, I mean, Highlander 1 and 2, it's kind of it was a decent sequel. Then from there, they did the typical 80s to 90s of, well, we got to have a sequel. What are we gonna do? I don't care. Just throw a giant spider in somewhere.
But yeah, like in Highlander 2, The Quickening, it's the premise behind it. Where'd it go? Okay. It's the year 2024 and the ozone above the earth is gone. To protect people from dying, McLeod helped in the construction of a giant shield several years ago. But since there isn't anyone left who's immortal after McLeod's victory, in the previous movie, he has stopped being immortal. Now he's just an old man. And it's like, it became like this saving the ozone movie. And like, it's like, what? And he constructed a shield around the earth. It's like, what is this? It's just weird. I don't know. But I love the idea of Cavill doing this. He's been a lifelong Highlander fan himself. That's one thing I love about Cavill is he is as geeky comes.
Yes.
He loves all of these different series. He's a fan. He builds his own computers for gaming. He does these posts all the time showing him doing geeky stuff. So he's one of us. He's one of us.
One of us. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was looking at the Highlander series, and I forget because it's just long since I've watched this, but I guess Christopher Lambert reprised his role as Connor in the pilot episode, and it helped introduce the protagonist Duncan MacLeod, an immortal who was taken in by the same clan of Scottish Highlanders, and he was found to raise Connor generations before. So it was, it basically it was a direct spinoff from the movies, and in a lot of ways, from what I remember watching it was better. In fact, there's more fans I think of the series than there are of the movies.
Yes.
So, and the series went on for 6 years. So I'd be interested to revisit and stuff like that. But it's been a long time. It was 1993 that came out.
The series?
Or 92. Yeah, 92 it came out. And then in 98. So it's been done for, it's almost 30 years since the series. We're looking at closer to almost 35 years, almost 40 years for the movie. So
the real struggle will be how to cast Kurgan. He was Mr. Krabs was perfect as Kurgan.
But he's good in everything. Like I was telling Scott yesterday, we talked. I've been watching The Crown, and he plays LBJ in The Crown. Yeah. and he was great in that. I actually, that's probably my favorite episode with him is when Princess Margaret is visiting the White House for the state dinner, and they're telling limericks. And of course, every time he saw, they basically told Johnson what he was. He was, he's in there in the bathroom taking a leak, and the guy's still talking to him. He just turns around because he doesn't care, and he comes right back. It's like, that was everything you ever hear about Johnson. This is what you hear. So,
but he had a peeing fetish in real life. He would always pee, so people would watch him. Mm-hmm. And supposedly he would even pee over the balcony from the Oval Office. He would.
He had, that's the rumor. Because I remember there's audio of him wanting pants made, and he told me, you got to put extra room in there for my stuff. He had some kind of weird thing about wanting people to know he was on the toilet or peeing. It's like, and some of this comes from the Secret Service guys, like books that came out later revealing secrets of the presidents and stuff. Yeah. I'm crazy. That's pretty, but going back to Mr. Krabs, yeah.
So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, the actor who played Kurgan, in the main villain in the first Highlander movie, is also the voice of Mr. Krabs.
Yes,
he's in tons of stuff too. He was in the Punisher series with John Bernthal, wasn't he? I believe so.
Yeah, it's Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown is a character actor. Has been around for a long time. And you see him as Kurgan, though he looks completely different than you see him, of course, in just a couple years later. The way he looked at that. He was in the Shawshank Redemption. A lot of people know him from that. In Shawshank, he was the main prison guard. So that's where he gets a lot more renowned for, besides the voiceover work he's in. He's done tons of voice work too, besides SpongeBob. I pulled up his thing. He's from Urbana, Ohio. He was in. He was Surtur, I'm probably in Thor Ragnarok. He was the training sergeant, and then ended up on the battlefield in Starship Troopers. He's got 297 acting credits. Yeah, so he's definitely been. Oh, and of course, recently he is Damien Darkblood in Invincible.
There you go. Yeah, he's so iconic in this armor. Then this was him in the present in the Highlander movies. He kind of had a punk look going, but he was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely a favorite actor, voiceover guy, and he's done tons. Like I said, he's done tons of work. When you see him, he's recognizable. Some people know him by name, but the minute you look at him, people are like, "Yep, I know who that is exactly." That are into movies and TV shows.
And if you close your eyes, you hear Mr. Krabs.
And if he's done so much other stuff. It's like Star Wars, Clone Wars. He was Savage Opress, Mandalorian Super Commando, Human Bounty Hunter. He pops up in those, and you hear his voice as different little things, even just small bits. Like, oh, I know who that is. Yeah,
he does have that iconic voice.
Yep. So actually, I like him as an actor, and look forward to. And I mean, we finally think to get him into the new reboot, even if it's not playing like a, have him as something else.
Kind of like a cameo where Lou Ferrigno
cameo nod.
The MCU.
Yeah. So that's something on Lou Ferrigno I saw. He posted he got the cochlear implant, so he can actually pretty much hear now. So, and that's something interesting considering his age and everything else. Yeah. But that's something new. He just posted recently. I happened to catch online too. So
very cool.
It's kind of neat on that.
Yeah.
So
it's already 10:40. What's going on?
I was just chatting away. So I told Scott I watched Army of the Dead, the new Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah.
There's a new little slight controversy, not controversy so much. And this was I saw it on the Variety page. I found it interesting, and I'm wondering because it doesn't explain why, but it talks about there's these dead pixels on the screen. I guess if you're watching the 4K streaming Netflix version, you see this. My thought was this. I have a feeling that the Netflix version has these dead pixels in it so they can distinguish the pirated versions from the Netflix stream versus the theatrical release stream.
What is a dead pixel?
Basically, it's just white, so it's not actual. There's nothing there of the film. It was just like a space of just like real small, but it's
so
just
if you're
white.
watching it, it looks like you have like dust stuck on your screen or something.
Yeah, you might think it's something wrong with your TV or something like that, and it's not. It's actually,
and
so
it just stays in the same place.
That's what it sounds like. I was looking through this, and it looks like it's, they show that image there, and then I was trying to say they show a couple of spots here, and then I'm thinking, okay, I bet you anything, and right here, and that would look like it would be about the same place. You see the little white spot there? Not supposed to be there. So I have a feeling that was stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not a type of watermark they were secretly trying out, and then people noticed it. So because there's a bunch of posts, people commenting going, I knew I saw it, and I knew it was. It's a dead pit. And why didn't Zack Snyder catch it? I'm thinking I'd have to see it in the theater, which I'm not planning on, but I bet you anything that there's not those marks in the theater versions because of the fact that they could try watermarking it. It's like when you're watching a film on the airplanes, like in Delta, it pops up at different times and there's a watermark of the word Delta. And that's so if people are actually, which nobody really does anymore, filming the screen, everything's digitally anyway. So those pirates out there can steal good quality right away. But it's to show where it's coming from. They did that with they'd like to do watermarks with the screeners they send out in the different award ceremonies and that too. So
interesting. Or is it just like they're supposed to be zombie pixels? Since it's the Army of the Dead.
Yeah. Now, I did read a couple things. I didn't realize I missed it when I watched it. I guess there was a quick snippet of something about a zombie apocalypse or a zombie outbreak in 2004, and it was a nod to Zack Snyder's first film, which was the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Okay.
But this is not a direct sequel to that. But he says that in his interviews that he could do more with this. But the way they set it up at the beginning, it has a very, to me, a Return of the Living Dead vibe for how the zombie apocalypse starts off. And when you see it, you'll get into, if you know those movies, you might recognize it's not like a full direct reinterpretation. It's just there are a couple of things that happen. It's like, okay, that when in Return of the Living Dead, they had the zombies were supposed to be from Night of the Living Dead in barrels, and someone broke into them.
So I have to admit, when I heard about this movie coming out, I was excited because I thought it was going to be a sequel to this.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's Bruce Campbell has said for years that they would not do another Army of Darkness, but then the last couple of years, there's been talk about them actually being able to do it. I think what it is the problem is not that they wouldn't want to do it. It was always had to do with the rights holders of the movie,
right? There's like dual holder, like the rights for Army of Darkness are different than Evil Dead or something like that.
Yeah, so it's like Ash versus Evil Dead. He was able to do that because it was based on the original movie of Evil Dead. But Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness are through the studio, so they couldn't do certain anything they introduced new in those they couldn't put into the Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah, so when I first saw the Army of the Dead coming, I'm like, oh, did they finally do the sequel? And I was so excited. Then I'm like, oh no, it's not.
Well, see, I thought Army of the Dead was it was based on one of the video games that have come out in the last several years of it's kind of like that. But the thing I thought when I read the premise was a little different than what it was. I kind of thought after reading the original premise that it was going to be more like a mix between like the Kelly's Heroes and was it the one with George Clooney where they were in Iraq going to steal the gold and stuff like that. I thought it was like a group of like, hey, we know there's some money in there. We got to go in and get it before they do this. But there's more to the reasoning for them going in. And I think that's where the movie isn't as good as it could have been because they tried to add all these other elements in. And personally, I think it would have been better if they'd done more like a mix, more of a heist movie, even though it is a heist movie in a lot of ways. So
talk a little bit about what happened with this actor in the movie.
Yeah, she's in the movie now. It's Tig Notaro, and she's a comedian, and she's been on Discovery, Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, she tends to play snarky.
Yeah. And she comes across that way. I mean, that's just the way she is. You can tell it's her natural personality and stuff like that. The original actress, or I believe it was an actress, I guess they had some controversy with kind of sexual assault thing that she did or he did or whatever it was. And they were digitally replaced that actor with Tig, and she shot everything on green screen. and there was, I guess, only one scene with one of the actual actors in the movie that she was with. So like Dave Bautista was like, I've not met her, we were in scenes together, and we never were because they filmed and digitally added her stuff in later. And a lot of it makes sense because the majority of it she was working on where she's standing by she's the chopper pilot. So she was up there trying to fix the chopper anyway. So they just reshot all those scenes. And then a few scenes where they had other people in, they used the scenes where they were closer to them and then showed her. So it was easily to go around and fix that.
So the actress she replaced was Chris D'Elia. She was accused of sexual misconduct in June and removed almost instantly, it said. Which I don't know any details, but it's sad how fast we don't allow due process to occur. I don't know if she's guilty or innocent, but it's sad that just mere accusations can ruin a whole career or people's jobs when, because everything I'm reading on this, and maybe there's more, but it sounds like it was just accusations. I don't see anything about an actual proof or you know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, I don't know any of the specifics.
Yeah,
other than
I don't
read
either.
A little bit, so I couldn't really comment too much on that. And it is a shame if there was nothing that happened and they lost out on the job. Then,
and obviously, if it's true, then they deserve to lose their job. But I have no idea who Chris D'Elia. Oh, wait a minute, this is a male.
Oh, okay.
So she replaced a male actor. Okay, I recognize him. I don't know what.
See, the only image I saw, it looked like a female in the image, but
he has long hair.
Okay, maybe the way that it was dressed or whatever, and that was trying to make I know they're not supposed to make presumptions on gender. That's what it looked like. So
here's the Wikipedia for that person. You can kind of see the picture in the corner there.
Okay, yeah. See, that picture I saw was not. It looked like a female, so I wonder if they had the wrong picture in the article.
Could be.
I saw. And I just went by the name, and of course, when you see the name Chris, it can go either way. So.
It can be either, yeah. But as far as this Tig, what's her last name? Notaro. I really enjoyed her in Discovery, and how they used her in there. So she was a very wisecracking, snarky character with witty comebacks
and she was good in this. She had the same thing, the same kind of attitude. It fit. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize she wasn't in the same scenes with them at the same time. I didn't realize they digitally added her in later on.
So that means she did a good job of watching where she fit in and acting wise.
Well,
get the tone and everything to flow.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do, that's where the producers, directors, Zack Snyder, they did a good job of working that in to make it work.
Right.
So I didn't notice a difference. And so if it, again, there was a lot more scenes where by yourself talking than in with the other group in that. But again, the movie itself was interesting. It's its own take on the zombie apocalypse. Basically they took over, you get a, what is it? Zombieland feel to it at the beginning when they show basically the outbreak and then the people that are fighting against the zombies and including you see the characters you get to know later on, Batista and all them, and then they show how they walled in Vegas as they're trying to contain the zombie apocalypse from spreading to other parts of the world in that. So it was kind of interesting on that too. So.
Right.
I recommend watching it. It was an interesting watch once. I don't know if I'll revisit it again. But I personally feel I thought it was going to be more like swords, and not in humor even, but just in the reasoning for going in more like a Kelly's Heroes or the Three Kings, I think it was with Clooney and Mark Wahlberg,
right?
In that. So then it was with this here. So because in a lot of ways the reasoning for going in at the end is like, oh well, it kind of all fell apart in it.
Yeah. So this yesterday was a major anniversary for Star Wars.
Yep.
Well, I don't know about major. It was 44 years. So
it's always a major
area. 44 years since Star Wars premiered. We had a new Bad Batch episode. So that brought in some elements of The Mandalorian this week.
Yep.
We got the bounty hunter, who is played by Ming-Na, making an appearance for the first time in animated form. So that was a lot of fun to see.
Yeah. It's this is kind of interesting that they brought that character in like that. So,
well, this also brings up an interesting thing because the Mandalorian series hinted at the Mandalorian and the bounty hunter there knowing each other, having a past.
Yes.
So I wonder if we will bring the Mandalorian into this series at some point, revealing what their shared connection is.
I think so. I think what we're seeing with Filoni helming this, which real quick, Filoni was announced, so I guess it happened last year, that he's been elevated up in rank within Lucasfilm, and it made all the publications, but then Lucasfilm comes and said, yeah, that happened a while ago. Like they didn't care. I think it's more of a silent push, but Filoni and working with Favreau on The Mandalorian and then going into Bad Batch, they're bridging all this stuff together. Yeah. They're bringing more, fleshing more things out that we're seeing in one thing from another. And
yeah, Filoni's like, I am making sure my creations are canon in every way possible.
Well, that's why we saw live action Ahsoka.
Yep.
The things that we've seen within that, we're seeing the Death Troopers coming in through Bad Batch. It's definitely a lot more canon on stuff going on than what we were expecting. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this all ties in. But it'll be really cool if we get Pedro Pascal's character into this and we see early origins type stuff.
And we might, that would be something to see, like where he came from, tying in with Mandalorians, more of that stuff, because that's something that Filoni really explored through the Clone Wars and Rebels was the Mandalorians. We saw, especially in Rebels, I mean, we saw way into the Mandalorians we ever had before, and that really brought forth everything we've been seeing within the show The Mandalorian, and then add more to Boba Fett and stuff like this. I'm real excited about all the stuff he's doing. It's just every week, and it's not, I don't think every week's gonna be a home run episode, but I think there's gonna be episodes that we're gonna look back on going, okay, there was that in there and that in there, and those key things have led to more things outside of Bad Batch even.
And that applies, I think, even to the Clone Wars series. You go back and rewatch it, it's even better because of everything else that we now know. You go back and it's like, oh yeah, they snuck that nugget in there. I didn't even realize it at the time. Or, they've done such a good job of taking things and explaining them or growing them that you didn't even realize a seed was being planted at the time. So
yeah, when I rewatched the Clone Wars and Rebels a couple years ago, it was just like that through the whole thing. It's like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, wait a minute. That meant, okay.
Right.
And it was just all these little, and sometimes it's just a statement. That's how great Filoni's been about this stuff. He's really, he is so ingrained in all this stuff. It's just fantastic. So,
yeah.
Yep. And then yesterday also was another monumental sci-fi day. It's also Towel Day for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't panic and carry a towel. So if you've not read, I recommend. I like the movie that came out in 2005. It's a fun movie. I know a lot of fans hated it, but if you really read into it, 90% of that movie was written by Douglas. He wrote that as it was his newest interpretation. He kind of was rewriting The Hitchhiker's Guide all the way along. When it was original radio drama he did versus the first book to even the sequels, he did 3 books, but then he did a fourth and a fifth. And the fourth book is kind of a revision of the first book. It's kind of an interesting way. He always went around redoing it. And whenever he wrote something new, he always changed a few little things here and there. So I always enjoy all the interpretations. But if you've never read the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book, I recommend picking that up, reading it, especially if you're a sci-fi fan. You'll have fun with that.
Definitely. Nice stuff.
All right. So close to the end here. We went fast today.
I think we got through our checklist.
I think so. We had a lot to cover today, just kind of rambling on a little bit and all the fun stuff in that. This weekend is Memorial Day weekend, so the official start of summer, as well as Memorial Day, looking back for on all the veterans that gave all during the war. So if you know any veterans this weekend, I've read where a lot of veterans don't thank us. This is not our weekend. Just remember that. But there may be some veterans, especially those of the recent wars, that if you haven't heard from them, you may want to check in on them. see how they're doing, because I know it can be a tough weekend for them, remembering things that they don't like to remember.
Yeah,
So
or
definitely
ones
check
they
in on
lost. So
So
it's an important weekend. Yes, we get together with family and friends and we barbecue and all that, but don't forget, like Christmas time, the reason for the season. Our freedom is not free. Came at a price, and to those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, this weekend is for them.
Yep. So keep that in mind, and then next week we'll see you guys again, talking about some more fun Bardstone stuff, as well as other cool stuff we've looked at over the weekend. We'll let you know what we did. I'll probably just be working all weekend, but
yeah,
I'm
me
barbecuing
too.
today. I got some ribs on the smoker right now, so
Ooh, nice, nice.
So we're ready to go on my big giant smoker I got. So looking forward to having that later. But until next time, guys, we will see you soon.